So there are three reasons why almost every budget fails, and we're going to talk about this real quick. So the first one is that you are using a method that is just outdated. And so the envelope system falls into this category. Now, this is probably the best budgeting method that has ever existed. And if you're not familiar with this is what your grandma did. And basically you get these different envelopes. So you have your grocery, you have your gas, you have your spending money, all the different categories that you need. And so at the beginning of the month, you take your paycheck, all the money you have, and you divide it up between all these envelopes. So groceries, we're going to put some money in there. And they'll do the same thing over in gas, and we'll do the same thing with our spending money. And then what we do is when we go to the grocery store, we take this money and we'll spend this. And when this is gone, that's all there is. And the only other way we can buy more groceries is if we pull some money out of one of the other envelopes. So we take it out of our spending money, we take it out of the gas, whatever. And this method works. And if you can do this, do this. This is just the best thing to do. But there's one big fat problem. And you're probably already thinking to yourself, and you know exactly why this isn't going to work. And you know that one glaringly obvious problem is that you can't use a card. You can't use plastic with this system. And whether we like it or not, whether we wish it was this way or not, it's really hard to live in our society without using some form of plastic to make purchases. Most of us do not live in a world where we can buy everything with cash. Next reason that almost everyone fails at budgeting is that they're using some sort of software or tool that uses fake money. And this is a problem that I have encountered with literally every single piece of budgeting software that I have tried. So whereas the envelope system is using actual dollars, real money, when you pull it out, it's actually taking the money out. Any of these budgeting softwares are not directly tied to your bank account. So yes, many of them will import transactions for you, which is nice when that's working, but it's a one-way street. It's not actually tied to your bank account. And so what this means, and I've learned this from talking to hundreds, if not thousands of readers over the last decade or so about budgeting, is that inevitably without that accountability there of it being real money, you and I are gonna just fudge just a little bit. We're just gonna slip just a little bit and the whole thing's gonna come crumbling down. So let's take a look at a real example of what this looks like. So let's say that I have $20 budgeted for spending money this month and I accidentally spent $40. Now, what should happen, what I should do is go ahead and pull that $20 from the budgeting account. And this is exactly what I would be doing if I had envelopes. You know, I spent my 20 here and then now I have to pull this 20 out of this envelope to cover it. But the reality is when we're using some sort of budgeting software, that's not what happens. Almost all of us find ourselves, I spent 20. You know what? I'm just gonna make it up next month because I'm getting $50 kind of added to that category. So I'll just kind of let that slide till next month. And after you do that, you quickly realize that you're on a very slippery slope and the entire budget all just kind of gets out of whack and all just kind of comes crumbling down. And sure, the thing is that you can get by with it for maybe a month or maybe two, but the reality is because there's not any real accountability there, it's so easy to do that. It's so easy just to cheat a little bit, and almost everyone I've talked to about budgeting who has struggled with this has had this issue, and this was the downfall of their budget. And what's so frustrating about this to me is that it's not your fault, it's not my fault, it's not that we don't have motivation, it's not that we don't have the desire to succeed with our budget or our finances, it's that it's just a bad system that doesn't work. And it's that same type of thing where it's not real accountability, it's just this veil of accountability that makes you feel good, you think you're being accountable, but you're actually not being held to what you need to be held to. And the third reason almost everyone budgeting fails is because you're not using the real money budgeting method. So this is a budgeting method that I kind of came up with and started with probably 12 or 13 years ago. And the gist is that you have the accountability of the envelopes, but then you have the convenience of the debit card and the two working together. So you get the benefits of both worlds. How this works is that you have your one checking account where your debit card is attached to it. And then instead of having envelopes, you create a whole bunch of different savings accounts that are all attached to that checking account. And then those function as your envelopes. Now, many of the budgeting software and tools out there try to do virtual envelopes, but again, it's fake money. It's not tied to your actual bank account, whereas this is. And so you know in that checking account that you have real money in there. You know in those savings accounts that those are real dollars that you have in there. And so you can't fudge it and you can't fake it. And it ultimately just keeps you just as accountable as if you're using envelopes and cash. And so if you've been around the channel a little bit, you know that between Linda and I am the money nerd and she is the spender. And me being the experimenter that I am, the financial writer that I am, I have just tried out one budgeting software after another over and over and over again. And every time she has to come along and I'm just dragging her along for this journey. And every single time she's like, can't we just go back to that system that we use? It was just so simple. And any of these other times over the years when we've been using a different budgeting system because I wanted to try it out and see if it was better, she flat out told me, if you die, I'm going back to the old system. I'm going back to the real money budgeting. So I think that's what's so beautiful about it is that it's simple enough that people who normally wouldn't budget or who are normally intimidated by budgeting can actually actually make it work. So that's the overview of the real money budgeting system, and that's what I recommend if you actually want a budget that you can stick with. It's actually pretty simple to do. And so I'm really excited to announce that we just launched a course teaching this entire real money budgeting system and how we do it and how we structure all of our accounts, what banks work best for this, and a whole bunch of other things. And at the time of this recording, it is available for purchase and open for enrollment, but we are only going to be opening enrollment probably about 2 times a year. So you can check the link up above or down in the description below to get more information on the whole thing or get on the waiting list if enrollment is closed. All right, so now I'm going to flip on over to the screen and show you everything that's included. And so the course itself is an online video course. You can take it at your own pace. You can watch it all in one sitting, or you can take your time. It's completely up to you. You can watch it anywhere. So you can watch it on any computer, tablet, smartphone, anything above. You have lifetime access to the course. And the core lessons that teach the actual system, it's about 14 videos, and you can watch it in less than 45 minutes. And in addition to the core video lessons, there's about $50 worth of bonuses that we're including as well, which we can kind of go into. So one of them is my bill pay system that I use to pay all my bills. And what's great about this is it saves you time every single month when you're paying bills. And on top of that, it virtually guarantees that you're never going to have a late payment, which is really, really nice. In addition to that, there's a bonus training that just kind of goes through my shopping process and how I save up to 50% on almost anything I buy. And this works offline and online. And you definitely won't save 50% on everything you buy, but there definitely been things that I have used this system for and saved over 50%. So it actually works. It's effortless, it's painless, and it's just something we all should be doing if we want to save any money at all. And this is our budgeting spreadsheet and worksheet that we created. You will use this in the course kind of when you're getting started to kind of get all your ducks in a row. And then we'll move on to the actual system, which will utilize the bank account. So anyway, those are a few of the bonuses that we are including in this at the time of this recording. Who knows if that will change in the future. But in the meantime, if you are trying to get your finances in order and really trying to find a budgeting method that will work for you, definitely encourage you to check out our course. And we would love to have you in with us.